the good life, full of fun.
Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Another big exciting day in my kitchen. What are we making? Where are we going? I thought I'd do a recipe. I love mushrooms, absolutely love them, and I love them in everything. I love them in like a risotto or just, you know, roasted up with some vegetables. So I want to make today for you a stuffed mushroom. And this is a recipe that's a culmination of what I grew up with a little bit of, you know, cooking Italian with Joe. Forget about it, if you know what I'm saying. All right, so let me go over ingredients with you. So number one, obviously center stage, the big kahuna here is our mushroom. So you can use a lot of different mushrooms for this. Porcini is great, a portobello, a crimini. We've got a crimini, which is essentially like an immature portobello, if you will, or a baby, you know, a baby portobello, okay? So we've got about 1.5 pounds of mushrooms, and those are our caps, as you see here, and there's the stem. We'll go over that a little bit, and we want to clean them and de-stem them. We've got a cup of breadcrumbs. Now, ideally here, I don't want flavored breadcrumbs if you can, so I've got a little over a cup, a heavy cup of Italian breadcrumbs. What I've got here is some pancetta. So I've got about 4 ounces of pancetta. I'm going to show you how to incorporate that and mix it. It's going to be great for my vegetarians and vegans out there. Just don't add the, you know, pancetta. It'll still be fantastic for you. Okay. Now what I've got here, gorgonzola blue cheese. Cream here, it's got a little bit extra bite to it. 1/3 of a cup of gorgonzola or a blue cheese, okay? Now here I've got about 1/3 of a cup of Parmesan Reggiano and Pecorino Romano. Now here I've got half of a medium-sized onion, and I chopped it down pretty tight, okay? Not little, but chopped it down really tight. I've got about a handful, if you will, a bunch of flat parsley. We're gonna use that. Adds a lot of flavor to any dish. So we're gonna use that to add flavor as well as color and decorate. I've got here 2 cloves of garlic. We're gonna chop that up. Whew, man, no vampire will be in this house with that puppy. I cracked it open, wow. You know, I talk to some people sometimes, they say they don't like garlic. Why would you be friends with somebody who doesn't like garlic? You know what I mean? Tell them to go eat someplace else. This ain't a fast food restaurant, you know what I'm saying? We've got here 2 tablespoons of butter. Salted is fine if you don't have unsalted. Just watch the amount of salt. You don't taste before so you don't get it too salty. Here I've got 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme. Oh, that's great. And I'll tell you, the thyme is a little bit more subtle, and it's a softer, very earthy herb, and it goes so well with the mushrooms, and it'll be a nice soft accent to the pancetta, which is great. One of my secret ingredients, which I love, nutmeg. I've got about 1/8, maybe a little bit more, 1/4 teaspoon there. So there's our nutmeg, grounded up nice and fresh. Obviously we've got our fresh ground pepper. We've got our salt. Today I'm going to use pink Himalayan. I love the pink Himalayan. It's a little bit earthy, a little bit more of a bite on the salt, and it's sexy. I don't know why I say that, but hey, I got the pink shirt on. Pink Himalayan. It's perfect today, right? And last but not least, I've got olive oil here. And some of you guys that watch my videos a lot, I own a farm in Italy. It's in Apulia, Italy, just above the heel. There's a little bump. It's called the Apulian Peninsula, a little town called Vico del Gargano. And we own a farm. We make olive oil. We work with several farms out there to bring you what I consider to be some of the best olive oil on the planet. It's made with Italian olives only. It's extra virgin Italian olive oil. It's grassy, it's earthy. It's got a little kick to it, a little pepper to it. And you guys can order it right on our Facebook page, Cooking Italian with Joe, or Vito and Joe's olive oil, or you can go right to our website, Cooking Italian with Joe. We actually drop ship it right to your house. I call it a trip to Italy right in a bottle. So let's get cooking, guys. I want to start the onion and the garlic and the pancetta. So I'm going to meet you guys over at the stove. Now the onion's going to take the longest to cook, so I'm going to start with the onion first. I've got here my cast iron pan. So we're going to put some olive oil in here. Vito and Joe's. Hopefully you guys purchased a bottle at this point. And I'm going to drizzle some right in the pan. And we're going to go a couple of tablespoons here of Vito and Joe's. Get your heat medium high, and we're going to start with those onions. So get the onions in there, and then give them a good stir so that the oil covers the entire onion. Now while I've got the onions going and they're going to sweat before I add anything else, I want to start prepping up some of these mushrooms, okay? So essentially what you want to do is make sure they're clean, and we want to de-stem them. So I'm going to get another glass pan just for debris, okay? And I'm going to take my mushroom, and I'm going to take a knife, okay? And some people break it off. I like to create a little room in there, so I'm just going to do a little bit of a slide around the stem. I want to create a nice pocket in there so I can stuff it, okay? Now you're going to save the stems because we're going to chop those up and cook them down. So I've got the oven going 425. So the oven's preheated at 425. I just like to save a little cleanup, take a little parchment paper. Okay, you're gonna take a cookie pan, which works great, cookie sheet, fantastic. And I'm gonna go ahead and start arranging the mushrooms. Did you guys get oil yet? Did you subscribe right down here on my little button yet? I know you're gonna if you haven't. All right, so we're gonna hit you here. I'm gonna go ahead and fill this up. And here's all the stems. I rinsed off any dirt, okay? So I got big chunks, don't worry about it, all right? And the onions are sweated down really nice. They're just starting to get on that edge of the brown, which is totally fine. And now we're gonna start adding everything else. So I'm gonna add my garlic, which is kind of rustic cut, don't worry about it. So I'm gonna add all my mushroom stems. I'm gonna add my pancetta, all of it. I'm gonna add my butter. I'm gonna add my thyme. I'm gonna add my fresh ground pepper. A good heavy teaspoon. I'm gonna add about a half of a teaspoon of salt. Now I'm gonna give it a good stir. And just go ahead and cover it up for a few minutes. Now that was about 3 to 4 minutes. I took the top off. I'll tell you, the smell in here is unbelievable. And what I wanna do is cook it down until those mushrooms get nice and soft. Right near the end, I've got a couple more minutes to go, but I'm gonna add my nutmeg. And I always like to add that right near the end of the cooking because I don't want it to burn or fry. We're all set. I'm gonna put the cover over it and I'm gonna set this aside. I wanna let it cool. Now I've got my mushroom mixture, okay? My stuffing mixture, we heat it up. That's right here, that's cooling down. I've got my parsley, my breadcrumbs, and then my cheeses, okay? So I'm gonna get over here. This is the fastest way that I found to do it. Just get a food processor. And we don't wanna pulverize it to make a mush out of it. We still want some size and texture to it, but we certainly wanna marry everything. I'm gonna put my Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna put all of my Pecorino Romano. Now on my parsley, I'm gonna put almost all of it. I wanna hold back just a little bit for decoration for the top. And on my breadcrumbs, same thing. I wanna leave back a couple of tablespoons and we're gonna add that to the top for a little extra crunch. So this is my mushroom mixture. I'm gonna add almost all of it. The only thing I wanna hold back, not all of it, but I wanna hold back maybe about 2 to 3 tablespoons of the butter oil, okay, with the thyme. So I'm gonna go ahead and transport this into my food processor. Now I've got all my ingredients in here and I'm ready to pulverize. I'll tell you a great tip that'll really help these stuffed mushrooms come out absolutely fantastic is if you subscribe to our channel. You like that transition? So there's a red button right down here, right near this great olive oil that you're gonna grab too, right? And if when you click that, what it does is it makes you part of our YouTube family. So any new trips I have coming up, any new tips for cooking, for travel, as well as any great recipes and videos we've posted, it'll come right in your notification box. And I'll tell you, it means a lot to me when you subscribe to our channel, and it makes you part of the family, you know what I'm saying? Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna mulch this down. Like we want a rough finished product. We don't want a mush. So I'm gonna give it some pulses. All right, so we had about 20, 25 seconds. Oh. But look at that, see how that's beautiful? And that'll pack, you see how that'll pack really nice? Now I wanna add the blue cheese. The reason I didn't wanna do that in the first place is I don't want it to be pulverized and mixed. I want parts of it to still stay together, okay? So it'll give you a better bite. So we're gonna mix that right in here. Just dump all your gorgonzola or blue in there. And then with a spatula, again, you know, we're not gonna mulch it, we just wanna mix it. So our stuffing's finished. I'm gonna go ahead and set that aside. And you guys remember I said save a little bit of that oil, the olive oil and butter, and I'm gonna take whatever I had left over from the breadcrumbs. So mix that all together. See how you're gonna have almost a paste, like a wet paste? We're gonna use that just for a topping. Now a little bit more of a prep, I'm gonna just take a little bit of salt and sprinkle it over the top of the mushrooms. And then I'm gonna take some pepper. And again, you just wanna give a nice, light grind. Now I'm going to turn this off to the side and I'm going to get my stuffing and I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use one of my mini ice cream scoopers, okay? And then I'm going to take one of my mushrooms and I'm going to get that scoop. Now I want to pack it, not like really hard, but certainly firm. And then I'm just going to put it over the top and just give it a little bit of a push. Beautiful, see that? These are all set, guys. Oh, smells good in here. Now if you guys remember, we had that leftover crumb mixture, right? So what I like to do is just take a little bit of that crumb mixture and just on each piece I just put a little bit on the top. So it just gives you that beautiful amount of crunch. All right, guys, we're good to go. So oven's 425. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in there. We're probably looking at about anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, and we want that mushroom to be soft. So just check it with a fork or a knife. Go up there and make sure it's really soft, almost like soft butter. So we got a cook's best friend. I'm gonna set that for 15 minutes. I'm thinking 20 because I got a couple of big ones in there. And then what I'm gonna do while I got a few minutes, I'm just gonna take that leftover parsley and I'm gonna chop it up nice and fine. We're gonna use that as a decoration and a little added flavor to finish the dish. All right, guys, been about 20 minutes. I'm telling you, these guys are ready to go. Woo! The smell in here, unbelievable. Oh, those came out perfect. See how nice and tender they are? Everything's cooked just right. So we're gonna let these cool for about 10 minutes. You wanna serve them warm if you can. Not real hot, but certainly not cold. So we take some pictures, plate it. Favorite part, we're gonna taste it. I'll talk to you guys in a minute. Now I'm just gonna take some of that parsley. I'm gonna hit it with just a little bit of a sprinkle of salt. Just hold it up nice and high, just a tad. And then just hit it with a little fresh ground pepper right up top. Oh, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and plate a couple of these. See how nice and soft that is? And you got that perfect little crunch, that little crisp on top. Favorite time of our show, always the end. Get to taste it. Boy, I wish I could just give that right through the lens for you, but first thing that hits you is that crunch, that crisp. And you got the olive oil, the onion, the garlic, the pancetta. And then the cheese is just filled with flavor. The pecorino romano and parmesan reggiano just start to fill my mouth. And what's nice, you got the flavor of the mushroom in the mix. And then the flavor, the main flavor of the mushroom comes through in the end. I'm thinking of a nice white wine right now. Oh, cut that. Guys, thanks so much for joining me for a great recipe. Remember, hit our subscribe button, make you part of the family. Remember to go on our website or Facebook, grab yourself a bottle of Vito and Joe's olive oil. Truly a trip to Italy right in a bottle. We'll drop ship it right to your house. And remember, guys, shut off the TV, the electronics, the cell phone. Surround yourself with your family around the table. Make a mess. Make some recipes. Tell some stories. Get to know your parents and your grandparents. Celebrate your heritage and set some traditions, just like we did in our family. Certainly they'll last a lifetime. They did for me. Guys, until next week, bon appetito.
A good life, full of fun, seems